Welcome into the Fantasy Guides podcast. My name is Andrew Teuscher, and I am joined today by the owner, the operator of Fantasy Guides at fantasyguides.com, Stephen Rippey, as well as fellow Fantasy Guides contributor, Jacob Rhodes. And we are gathered here today heading into week 3 to talk about the buys and the sells that we like for this week. Who are the dudes that are underperforming or performing at a moderate level who are about to go up, and who are the dudes who are overperforming that you need to ship off your team? We're going to each throw out one buy each, one sell each, and we're going to get into it. We won't always agree on all of these, but doggone we do a darn good job. Steven, you put out a post on Instagram, and it was hitting hard on all of our buys and at least our sells. We're almost 100%, weren't they?
I think there were some good buys in there. We had Josh Jacobs as a buy. Not that he lit up the box score or anything, but he definitely got the usage you'd want to see and got the yardage. He just didn't score. And then, yeah, all those sells were pretty much spot on. I think it was Isaiah Likely.
Especially
Xavier
that Diggs
Worthy.
one.
What was it?
The Diggs one.
You recommended it. I don't think we put it on there, though.
I know. I had to throw it in there. We mentioned him last week.
I think I silenced you.
Fully for the Diggs sell. My the Texans, whenever I can sell them as a Colts fan, I absolutely will. And doggone we were right about that one. I might be the world's biggest Nico Collins fan, though. So the bias doesn't fully stand there.
Hey, I will, Andrew, at some point, because I know we didn't put out for you a quote post saying your love for Nico, but I will, if this holds true throughout the season, which I think it will, I will credit you.
We'll make a retroactive one. I begged many times.
I credited you yesterday. I won't do it again.
A time-stamped text thread. How about that?
I absolutely love it. Let's get right into these buys, though. Speaking of phenomenal wide receivers, there's not many times when you're able to buy into a phenomenal wide receiver. Not even overusing the word this time, an elite wide receiver that you can buy. Jacob, who do you have as your buy for this week?
Yep, so I've got the layup of the week, and it's Mr. Jamar Chase, and it was the same position he was in last year. Through 2 weeks, he's got 9.9 points per game. Through 2 weeks last year, he was at 8.4, so big time increase from last year with Jamar Chase. But week 3 last year, he came out, had a 26-point game. This coming week, he has Washington, and through 2 weeks already, we've been seeing them get decimated. Their secondary is terrible. They've been the secondary to target for the majority of a full calendar year now. They're miserable. Jamar Chase, if he doesn't get going against Washington, fine, whatever. But I will bank on that. He also gets Carolina the following week, Baltimore, and then the Giants. So those are good matchups for him. I think he is going to get going sooner rather than later. I know people are worried about Higgins coming back, but his target percentage does not change much at all with T. Higgins coming back in. It's just the other guys that don't see targets anymore. So I'm banking on his production ramping up pretty quick. Last year, weeks 3 to 17, he ended up being wide receiver 6 after that slow start. So it's kind of what the Bengals have been doing. They're a slow starting team. Burrow starts slow. Chase starts slow, and he didn't have much of a camp at all because of all the contract stuff. So he needed some ramp up time. I think 2 weeks was plenty, and week 3 is going to be an explosion. So now is your buy window. It is a very small buy window. It'll still be an expensive buy, but I think guys like Chris Godwin, Debo, Devontae, even Marvin Harrison are all guys you can use to target Jamar with.
Yeah, I had a hard time with some of the sells. Like you look at Chris Godwin, is he the wide receiver 1 right now?
Yeah.
Like part of me looks at him and I'm like, oh, he's a sell. But then I remember we really liked Chris Godwin this year. So yes, if you could sell him as the wide receiver 1, which you can't, you're not gonna be able to get that kind of volume though, or value, I should say. But for somebody like Jamar Chase, I am willing to do that. I think Jamar Chase also, where he was being drafted, a lot of people kind of felt like they had to take him because he was going in that mid round where it was like, do I take him or St. Brown? Do I take Justin Jefferson? Do I take one of the running backs? So I do think there's a lot of people that might have got stuck with him that maybe didn't want to necessarily draft Jamar Chase. They just wanted to make sure they didn't reach or they took the best player available. So I think if you have an owner in your league that's in that kind of situation, he's much easier to pry away.
Yeah, and I think people are already tilting right now, and there's a lot of underperforming elite wide receivers currently. So this is one that you can go after for sure.
Unfortunately, you do not get points for yelling at the ref and almost getting ejected out of a game, getting a penalty that loses your team the game. Yeah, that doesn't score fantasy points. If it did, Jamar Chase would be a great play.
And I think that's also Andrew, to that point a little bit. I feel like, because I've seen it on Instagram, I've seen a lot of people commenting that they hated seeing that they're like, this guy's such a diva. And then the whole contract off-season situation where it was kind of this wishy-washy holdout. I think people are just kind of fed up with him. So again, easier to get.
Target volume has been really low this first 2 weeks as well. And it was a little bit higher last year, even though his points weren't as good. But then again, in week 3, it jumped all the way to 15 targets. So and again, Washington. He gets to play Washington in week 3.
It's if he doesn't go off this week, then it's over for this season.
He also gets to play Carolina after that, then Baltimore, who hasn't looked like the most stout secondary. We just saw Devontae Adams pop off, and then also the Giants. Jamar Chase to the moon. All right, Steven. We talked about one elite wide receiver that you can buy at an all-time low. Now, talk me into this elite tight end. Why is he a buy?
Well, I'm having second thoughts on having him ranked as the tight end 1 this year. I think that's going to be Trey McBride. But he's not going to finish as the tight end 28. That I am very confident in. I still think he's going to be a borderline top 5 tight end rest of the season.
Who is this?
What's that?
You never said the name. Who
I
are
never
you
said
buying
the name.
into?
Sorry, my bad. Travis Kelce.
Just withhold it.
I should have waited until the end. Travis Kelce. He's my buy. Let's just remember the team lost Hollywood Brown for essentially the season. So that target competition we were worried about is not there. The team also just lost Isaiah Pacheco. So I think they're going to have to shift to be a more pass-heavy team. This team did not pass very well this past week. I think Mahomes was around 150 passing yards. They're going to have to pass more. Worthy, he's not being targeted a ton in this offense. He's just kind of like, he just has his moments. He's a better real-life football play than like a target hog. So he's not going to get high volume. And even Rashid Rice, he's the number 1 right now for the Chiefs, but he's not this massive target earner. I don't think he is an elite wide receiver. I think he's kind of a security blanket for Mahomes. But I think Travis Kelce, there's still plenty of room for him to have his blow-up games. And I think down the stretch, they're going to rely on him more. So again, he's not going to finish as tight end 28, but I definitely think he gets back into the top 5.
Can I give you a name game for Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
Brock Bowers.
Ooh.
I think that's interesting because Brock Bowers is the tight end 2 in fantasy. He's basically the tight end 1 in every underlying metric, and he hasn't scored a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, he was close last week, but so was Kelce.
That is close. I think I'm still going to go Kelce, but I think it's very close. I really like this. That's not anything against Bowers because I think he's going to be solid. I think he's probably a lock to be a top 5 tight end this year, but I think I'm going to still lean Kelce from this point on out.
I'd go Brock there, but I guess just a matter of what you're able to pay. Maybe a Kincaid for Kelce type deal or whatever you can. And if you want to sell Andrews, it's a weird spot to sell him, but
I think I still feel better about Kelce than I do Laporta.
Oh, for sure. There's just less target competition there, and you get Patrick Mahomes instead of Jared Goff. The concerning thing for me going into the season for Travis Kelce was route participation. We started to see that decline quite considerably because, well, he's old. He's an old man. I mean, like approaching or right around the age of 35. He's 34. That's ancient. Like, I don't know how you aren't in a wheelchair at that age. I don't know how people function above the age of 30. Steven, I'm baffled with this every week. However, the route participation is actually really good. Travis Kelce has the 6th highest route participation amongst tight ends. That's going to click eventually. Any player running that many routes with Patrick Mahomes, who has the smallest semblance of talent, will produce something. You're buying Travis Kelce because you could get him for someone like Brock Bowers or Dalton Kincaid. Don't expect the Kelce of old, who's the dominant tight end 1. That's kind of my viewpoint on it.
I completely agree. Not only because I don't think he will be as good, but I think the competition that's around him is better, much better. I just don't think the big one for me too is I don't think the Chiefs will be able to run as much. I think that Pacheco, as much as I haven't, he's a guy I wasn't super in on early in his career. After watching him the past year and a half, I do think he's a good running back. I think he's much better than P. Ryan and Carson Steele, who are behind him, or Kareem Hunt that they have brought in. I don't know that they're going to sign him or not, but
Clyde's back in a couple weeks too. It's gross.
Yeah, I think he's easily the best running back, and that is you. If you've got Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, the last thing you should be doing is handing off to those running backs. So I think for all these receivers, including Kelce, I think the targets go up big time.
Yeah, and we could be entirely wrong. Will Levis, better passer rating than Patrick Mahomes this past weekend. Of course, that's going to stay up. Nothing will change. Doomsday for the Kansas City Chiefs. As much as I would find that fun, that will not happen. So Travis Kelce, excellent buy. And I got another one. Another great receiver who was a wide receiver one last year in a slightly different situation, who I think you can buy the dip. DJ Moore. Everybody just watch DJ Moore go through absolute misery with the rest of the Bears team looking horrible. I believe I saw the stat that Caleb Williams has the fewest passing yards in his debut, and I believe over the first 2 games for a rookie drafted so highly. He looks awful. So Caleb Williams just displayed that on national television, but DJ Moore is still raking in the targets. DJ Moore is 9th in the NFL in targets. This team is still chucking it a whole bunch because, doggone it, they can't run the ball at all. DeAndre Swift, what are we doing, buddy? Let's get you on a segue or hand it to literally anyone else. I think an offensive lineman would be better than this line. 14 carries for 18 yards. Give the ball to Khalil Herbert. No, please don't do that. 2 carries for 3 yards. They are not going to run the ball whatsoever, so they're going to have to throw it a whole bunch. And we saw DJ Moore getting all sorts of views. Hey, Shane Waldron, you stink. You're a bad offensive coordinator. That's a problem. You did this to Seattle last year. You're doing this to Chicago this year. And that's doom and gloom. But DJ Moore is still a buy because he's so talented, because Caleb's so talented. And next he gets the Colts, the Rams, and the Panthers. That is 3 teams you can absolutely attack as long as DJ Moore is involved as he's going to be, even with Rome Odunze and Keenan Allen. I know Keenan missed last week, but still, he's raking in the targets. Caleb's going to hit a couple long shots. Remember last year with Justin Fields? It was not weekly consistency, but you're going to have your boom game. So don't buy him saying he's going to be top 5, but DJ Moore, where he's at, people watched that game. He looked horrible, but you can buy into that panic.
Well, I was looking at his last year's game log, and he did kind of start off a little bit slow last year as well, albeit different quarterback situation. And then we had him have kind of a semi blow up in week 4 against Denver. And then that was
30 points.
If you guys remember that monster game on Thursday Night Football against the Commanders where he scored 50. So again, he's a rookie quarterback. He is what they quoted a generational type quarterback. So yeah, you got to think, give the guy some time. If he's getting all that work and all that volume, eventually he's going to start looking a lot better.
Yeah.
He's a once-in-a-generation quarterback that happens to come every 4 years, apparently.
I know.
Yeah, he just has 0 touchdown passes through 2 weeks. So
also, one of these generational quarterbacks needs to hit. Like we got Trevor Lawrence over here stinking it up. We got Andrew Luck, played like 4 seasons and then retired.
He hit. He just wasn't around for long.
Well, he hit in some ways, but he was also, I don't know, he wasn't that.
He got hit more than he hit because that was the issue there. Lots of concussions.
He was like a rich man's Carson Wentz.
That sounds fun to me. I'm not going to lie to you. Stanford Carson Wentz. That actually checks out a whole bunch. Played a little bit smarter than that, man. But yes, DJ Moore, buy the dip. I'm concerned about the Bears offense in general, but I do still think Moore can produce, especially these next 3 weeks. So those are the dudes we feel good about. Those are the ones who are playing not so well, who we think are going to rise. Now let's flip the coin. And Jacob, this one hurt my heart. Your sell really struck me to my core, made me sad. Jacob hates feel-good stories. Jacob watched Rudy and was upset at the end when the little guy had the big come up. Who is your sell, Jacob?
Never was I ever upset with Rudy. I can't let that fly. That is my movie right there. Anyways, my sell is Mr. J.K. Dobbins, and I know I am excited that he is playing as well as he is following all those injuries. I'm happy for the dude. It's awesome. It's not sustainable. He is averaging 11.8 points per game above expected per PFF right now. That is...
I did see that.
That's a
lot. That is a huge bump over what he's expected to get right now. They've had about 3 carries inside the 5 that team has in total, and they've been split between Gus and JK, so he's not guaranteed goal line work right now. He's scoring from well outside of goal-to-go situations. He has those durability concerns, and he is not getting as many carries as Gus Edwards. He's 1 carry less in both games so far. He's seen a couple more targets, but he's only had like 4 receiving yards so far. So it's not a good spot that he's in for volume. You're banking a lot on efficiency, and you're banking on efficiency from a guy that has severe durability concerns that I don't think they're going to ever give a full workload to this year. I think it's always going to be a 50-50 split with Gus, no matter how inefficient Gus might be. I just don't think they want to pound Dobbins into the ground. I think they want to keep him healthy as much as they can. The big concern, though, is the next 4 weeks of play is Pittsburgh, Kansas City, bye week, Denver. He had 2 glorious matchups these first 2 weeks. They were perfect spots for him to shine, and he did. But in a really slow-paced game against a hard rush defense next week, against a team that they're not going to be able to run the ball as much against in Kansas City, and then a bye week, I think you're in a sell high window right now. And I think you can go after some underperforming running back ones with him at the moment, because he's got RB3 value right now is where he's at currently. Not his value, but I think his perceived value is a lot higher than what some might be giving him credit for. I saw Mr. JJ Zacharyson did a poll on who you would rather have rest of season between Dobbins and Gibbs. 20% of people voted for Dobbins. So
oh no, that's so wrong.
Go search.
I heard that as well.
Yeah, go put the line out there and see what people are willing to bite on. I would look at guys like even Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne, Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker coming off a injury week. Like all those guys I'd rather have rest of season. I think you're in a really good sell high area. I don't think he's a must sell. I just think you need to temper your expectations. He's more of an RB2 than he is an RB1.
Yeah, he's 100% not a must sell.
Yeah,
because Gus Edwards is horrible behind him. I know
but he's getting a lot of work.
He's getting a lot of work, but is that going to hold up? He's averaging 2.9 yards per carry to Dobbins 9.9. If that keeps happening, they're going to be like, what are we doing with Gus Edwards in the game? Like, why are we?
They're running him very differently than they're running Dobbins, to be fair to Gus. But yeah, Gus is not an efficient type runner.
So yeah, I'm really only looking to move him if I can get something good in return. Like if I can only get something of like semi-equal value, I'm just fine riding that, because this team is going to be so run heavy. But I do like the idea of saying, if you drafted him, what was he at best your RB3, but probably more like your RB4 or 5.
Yeah, probably 4 or 5.
A lot of people could be sitting in a really good spot that have him. I would take someone like him, and maybe you drafted a Puka Nacua or an AJ Brown or some of these guys. Yeah. Maybe you try to move him with one of those guys to get like a Jamar Chase, like we talked about. Like get one of these underperforming wide receiver ones, because people are dying at wide receiver right now. Like people are hurting big time with all the injuries. So that's a move I would try. Or maybe Debo, something, move him plus a piece to get Debo, or another guy who, Andrew, I'm surprised you didn't bring up Chris Olave actually as your buy. I thought for sure you were going to take him, but somebody like that is somebody I'd look at.
Chris Olave is going to come up as a part of my sell I'm going to get to. It'll make sense in just a little bit. Okay. I just wanted to talk about multiple guys because I had a lot here. So I will fold it in. Don't you worry. Anyway, so we love that. J.K. Dobbins, RB4 overall. I mean, that's just not going to keep happening. Not with a 50% backfield split. So we'll see what happens going forward with Dobbins. He'll still be great. It just won't be that great.
I am a little bit bummed in our Dynasty League. I don't have any running backs. And I traded him around the draft time to get like a future first. It was him and another, maybe a second to get a first, which I still overall like, but it feels like I sold low now. I feel like if you're telling me Jahmyr Gibbs, like I could have got a lot more for him right now.
Yeah. It's only 20% of people, but they're out there. Those guys are out there.
I like to think our league's a little sharper than that, but
yeah.
Steven's still out here begging Adrian Peterson to unretire and come play for his team at age 40, and it'd be a massive improvement. Running back room hurting over there, buddy. But moving on to the next one, Steven, here's a sell, a running back, another one. The usage, it's good. The team is not. Tell me, why is Devin Singletary a sell?
I liked him where he was going, and I still kind of like him, but I just think that ceiling is just so low right now. As far as he got 94% of the RB rushes this past week, 79% of the snaps, and he scored a touchdown, and he still only had 13.5 fantasy points.
He's going full James Robinson.
Yeah, it was against the Commanders. Look, we're just that's gonna be a running theme this whole season. It was against the Commanders. Next up, he's at Cleveland. He's got Dallas, who I know just gave up 4 touchdowns to Alvin Kamara, but I don't think
they have a bad rush defense.
I think the Saints are better than we were thinking. But I still think this is a game that I don't love him against that defense. I still think that defense can rally against a team like the Giants. So he's got Cleveland, Dallas, then he's at Seattle. We'll get Andrew to give us the mileage on that. And then he's got Cincinnati, which is whatever. It's not a terrible one. But then he's at Pittsburgh. So at least 3 of these games I'm a little bit concerned about coming up on the schedule. And I do think there's a decent chance. I know it didn't happen this week, but holding on to that high of a snap share and a rush share, I think that's a little bit higher than even I would expect him to get moving forward. I still think he'll be the main back there, but that's elite Christian McCaffrey type of workload.
You like some Devin Singletary, Jacob? You holding on?
I guess it's just what are you willing to trade him for right now, or who are you like targeting to use Singletary to go and get?
I think he's more of a throw-in.
Okay.
I think, like, I don't know, like somebody like a Stephon, I'm just looking.
Let's say you're trying to go get Jamar Chase, and the guy also, you're going to give him a receiver, but he also wants more RB depth. Devin Singletary, there you go, plus the receiver upgrade.
Yeah, I think he really is more of a throw-in piece. Like, there's probably not a ton of one-for-one deals I'm looking to get with him. But even someone like Stephon Diggs, who you guys think is completely horrible, I think in a great offense like that, I still trust a player like Diggs. I don't know that you can get them one-for-one, but maybe some sort of small, maybe you get a guy off the waiver wire this week. Maybe you get a Carson Steele, and you can move those 2 guys to get somebody. But yeah, I just think that if that's all he's going to get you against Washington with that much volume, I'm a little concerned that it doesn't get a ton better than that.
Yeah, maybe you even look at someone like if he is your running back 4, your running back 5, maybe you look at trading for a guy like Pacheco if that owner is 0-2 and you have an IR spot. That's not something I hate. Someone that you're going to be able to bank on at the end of the year. It's going to be a little while. It might be ugly for a bit, but if he's your depth running back piece and you don't need to start him every week, that's someone like that, or even a Nick Chubb that could be more valuable at the end of the season is some interesting pieces.
It really shouldn't take much convincing to tell you the Giants are going to be a bad team, and you probably don't want many players on that team, except for Malik Neighbors. 65% target share. That is absolutely insane. Give Malik Neighbors handoffs.
I still don't know that I've seen a target share that high before.
The last one was, I think it was Sammy Watkins in like week 2, all the way back when he was a rookie, I think, or 2018 or something like that.
2014. Yeah,
that was, I think it was somewhere around that area, but I think that was the last guy that saw a target percentage that high.
Yeah.
Well, Sammy Watkins, the absolute GOAT. Here's another GOAT downfield threat. Actually reminds me a lot of Sammy Watkins, but I'm selling him anyway. New Orleans Saints, guys, I'm running another victory lap here. I called the upset on the pod last week. I said it might happen. Okay, I didn't say like it will happen, but I said, hey, this is one I think we're going to be a high scorer. We're going to buy into. I like the Saints. They look incredible. They look too good. Guys, it's Derek Carr. This is not the greatest show on turf or the greatest show on surf or the greatest show in the NFL. This is Patrick Mahomes is not quarterbacking this team. It's Derek Carr. This team is going to come back down to earth. I love what they're doing. They're using motion everywhere. I just put out a tweet. Basically, for motions, the biggest thing in the NFL, I took the bottom 5 teams in motion, and I looked at them. All those offenses are just dreadful. So good teams use motion. The Saints are doing it. That's why they're good. And this team will probably be top 10 in scoring. But they're not going to have a 62-point differential for the rest of the year. Like at that pace. That's not going to continue. They're not going to keep scoring 40 points. And Rashid Shaheed's a sell on 1 point mainly. He has 169 receiving yards. He got 129 of those on 2 catches. That's what Rashid Shaheed does. He catches downfield bombs, and it looks so cool, and he does such a good job doing it. In fact, the one he caught was actually completely covered up. Derek Carr should not have thrown that football, but heck, it worked. He has a 59 and a 70-yard bomb. That's not going to keep happening. This offense is too efficient. I think we're going to see some of that go away, and we're going to see guys like Chris Olave, Foster Moreau, Juwan Johnson, Alvin Kamara get more involved in the passing game, and they're just not going to score on 2 plays and on huge touchdowns like that. So that's just going to go away. So what's going to happen is Rashid Shaheed's going to go from being a top 5 wide receiver on the season so far. Sorry, top 10. He's wide receiver 9 right now, and he's probably going to be a wide receiver 3, and that's great. That is still something worth holding on to. It's kind of like J.K. Dobbins. This Rashid Shaheed man has just flown way too close to the sun in New Orleans, has no business being top 10. Sorry, Rashid. If someone's watching this and getting hyped, ship him off, get you something better.
Well, let me ask you, Andrew, do you not think, I brought this up this offseason, but do you not think that the Saints, with Derek Carr leading them, can't be a version of the Detroit Lions with Jared Goff?
Can they? Yes. However, Amon-Ra St. Brown is Chris Olave. Jameson Williams is more of that Rashid Shaheed, who's doing well right now, but
more targets.
Rashid Shaheed doesn't have nearly the talent of like a Jameson Williams. I just think that he's striking gold. The stars have aligned. We keep doing this.
You know, Jacob, I feel like Andrew does this a lot. I point this out. I don't know if you listened to us do our podcast the other night, but I brought up that Justin Jefferson had 34 receiving yards if you take away the 99-yard touchdown on that long play. And he goes, "You can't take that away. You cannot take that away." Yet here he is with these long touchdowns to Shaheed, taking him away.
I think Rashid Shaheed might be our modern day version of Deshaun Jackson this year.
That'd be really cool.
Which is very boom bust. That's fair. But a target for Rashid Shaheed is worth a lot more than a target for 90% of other receivers. He doesn't need a lot to work with. And with all the play action they run, which they went from dead last to first in the league so far in play action plays, and then all the pre-motion movement that they're doing, I know they're top 3 there. I'm not sure if they're quite at number 1. Are they at number 1, Andrew?
They're way up there. I can go find that for you.
They're top 3, I know for sure. But all the movement they're doing and just all the glorious matchups that they have on their schedule, no, he is not a top 10 receiver, but I think he is definitely a mid-range, like wide receiver 2. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities.
I think you have to find the right. This is similar to the J.K. Dobbins thing. This is, you're not giving him away, but it depends on what you want to get for him. Like, okay, Andrew, Rashid Shaheed or Stephon Diggs?
Ooh. I would take Shaheed.
I'd probably still go Stephon Diggs. I think there just will be more volume associated, and the number one indicator of fantasy success is volume.
I know, but Diggs has 3 more targets than Shaheed. So, I mean, it's
I would rather
more,
start Shaheed in my flex. And I
think I'm with Andrew
for free.
I think I'm still leaning Diggs. I'm still leaning on that offense a little bit more. But if I drafted him, I kind of want to ride it out a little bit to see if this offense, not maintain's probably the wrong word, but continues to be a top 10 offense.
Yeah. When I looked yesterday, he was only 54% rostered. So he's on most waiver wires. He definitely should not be by any means, but playoffs. How about this, Andrew? Washington week 15, Green Bay, Las Vegas.
That'll play out well for him.
Yeah.
Again, he could have caught fire 2 weeks. Almost all of his points.
He's done it before.
2 catches.
He's done it before.
Just something to be considered.
Thing too. Here's something I will say. He's done a lot with those targets that I could see them trying to target him more, being like, this guy is a complete playmaker. We got to find more ways to get him the ball, which I hope is the case.
I hope you're correct, but you can only throw the ball 50 yards downfield so many times before it becomes problematic. I'm not saying he's complete, just ship him off. You have to. He's going to completely collapse, but that he's at a high.
Here's the other thing, Andrew. They've been blowing teams out, so Derek Carr hasn't even had to throw it much yet. You got to think there's going to be a few games where he throws it in the 30s, 40s. He's going to have some of those games where he has to chuck the ball 40 times. They've just been blowing teams out to where Derek Carr is passing the ball like no more than 20 times. So I think that volume, he's got 9 targets on the season. In a game where they have to throw it a lot more, that
Philly next week,
4 or 5 targets could look like 8 or 9 targets.
Yeah, they get Philly, Atlanta, Kansas City the next 3 weeks.
Rashid Shaheed's average depth of target is 18 yards. This is what he's doing is not. He cannot keep that up.
I hate yourself.
No, I'm just not expecting. I'm not expecting him to continue to do what he's doing. But and you're going to have down weeks. But I think it's a little bit of a. It's an easy. I think he's an easy like low end wide receiver too.
I should put. You know what we should do? We should do polls on these buys and sells. And like, have you traded Shaheed? What did you get for him in return? And then we like say whether we approve of it or not.
Absolutely. Fun. If you're listening, DM Steven, get in there. If you're on YouTube, either DM or put it in the comments. Let us know if you make any trades with these guys. Just let us know what's going on. I hate fun. Rashid Shaheed, you're too much fun. I can't have you on my team. I need boring. I need more boring volume on my team. Hater of fun.
Keenan Allen.
Give me Keenan Allen. Fat Keenan running routes out there, eating hot dogs. That's my kind of player. But that'll do it for the pod. A nice little quick buys and sells. You guys seemed to like it last week. Again, here it is for you. We'll keep doing this every week. Tune into our Thursday pod to get starts and sits because we were absolutely cooking. If you want to know the next big upset, I got you next week. I will hunt. I will look for it. I will find the upset equal to this one, and I will say it. And if I'm right, I'm going to run with it. If I'm wrong, you'll never hear it again. And then be sure to tune into our reactions pods that we record Sunday night, getting to you on your Monday drive to work. Gentlemen, we've done it here. Say goodbye to the friends at home.
All right. Good luck this week, guys.